Uh, Apologies. Let me adjust. I'm fixing the sound right now. I'll redo everything in a second. Um, all right. Hello, everyone. My name is Majesty. I will be your host tonight of Nexus Commentaries. Joining me tonight is Patience. Say hello again.
Hi, everybody. And you misspelled my name.
I did. I swapped the I and the E, didn't I? So apparently we're off to a very rough start today. It is a long 4-day weekend for me, so this is on day 3, and that's what I'm gonna blame. All right. So Scalding Sweat Cult won the coin toss. They opted to have first hero pick of the match, giving ProBUs the first map pick. ProBUs banned out Dragonshire and Battlefield of Eternity. Scalding Sweat Cult, which he actually missed me messing up that name earlier, so that's good. I got to redo. Shrines and Tomb of the Spider Queen, and then ProBUs have picked Volskaya, a good ProBUs map. Patience, what do you think about this map?
ProBUs has played on this map already 3 times, winning 2 of them. And Scalding Sweat Cult has played it once and won it once. So I believe both teams have some strategy and comps that work on this map. So it'll be kind of interesting how they are going to go at each other.
Yeah, Volskaya, a point control map. A lot of unique things work on this map that don't necessarily work on other maps. For instance, 4 main tanks and a Lucio, especially in that third all-important generally the third objective is the last objective on this map. So you get there, by then you have 16. Lucio has percentage healing, you get 4 main tanks, you go into the middle of the enemy team, and you just can't die. And that's incredible, you know. Or you could just pick 5 support, which is another one of those games, comps that just scale really well. We'll go ahead and tell the team we're ready now. It did make him wait a second while we recaught up because of the sound issue. Apologize again for that. I will check the next scenes when we jump in there. So we're gonna go.
The draft.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the draft now. It did have this mic also needed to be adjusted because it is 2 separate mic sources for how I have it set up. So thank you for the comment on the chair there, Dax and Patience. Yes, I am in the middle of renovating some parts of my setup, so there are some things. Sorry if I bumped the table a little bit. Well, my swiveling here, getting used to the not sitting on a wooden chair where I can't swivel. But anyways, we're gonna see the Stukov banned out from against ProBUs here. Do you feel like that's a target ban? We have seen Irby a little bit on it in the past if you kept up with the ProBUs team.
I believe it is a target ban. He's had a lot of success, and ProBUs has drafted him quite a bit. So I believe that's a target ban.
So obviously everyone knows that Rhaegar, Deckard right now are probably the top 2 supports. Do you feel like Stukov or even Anduin is that 3rd place?
They're kind of up there, but we do see Deckard and Rhaegar a lot these days. It seems like both teams are opting to ban healers. I wonder if they're trying to healer choke both teams.
So we do have Tracer and Cassia available as well, which I believe those are good first picks. Zul is still a viable first pick by all intents and purposes. There's the Johanna ban, probably one of the best tanks for this map because of wave clear, but also just the ability to sustain on the point for so long. Obviously also isn't a healer, so who knows what healer we're gonna end up with.
It's interesting because the first pick, as the first pick, they've been Johanna, so they must not have a Johanna player or just wanted to run a different tank.
Well, there's a lot of good first picks right now, right? Deckard and Rhaegar, as we said, are still available, as well as the Tracer. So like I could see like they don't want to give the Johanna over, especially if they're gonna go into like the Tracer. They're actually gonna go into the Sylvanas here, which still needs the auto attacks. I don't mind that pickup at all. Boosting the turret with Merc Queen or just going for like the infinite stacking W quest is very good on Sylvanas here.
As well as it will really empower the objective if they end up getting it.
How powerful would it be if ProBUs just picked up the Deckard and the Rhaegar right now?
Both of them?
Yeah, just take both. They are going to take one. They're going to take the Rhaegar and the Tyrael. So it looks like we're going to see a very traditional heavy dive bloodless team coming out of ProBUs here, which I like. So I imagine they're going to look for like a Greymane, maybe even a Kharazim for a double support dive comp with the Tyrael. Like just get super tanky and dive into the middle of the enemy team as aggressively as you can. This is going to force Sylvanas to not be able to wave you to get all the free like triple stack on you with that level 7 talent, to where it could make it harder to stack the W, and because there's so many of you, it's hard to get Q build. There's going to be the Deckard and DC, which are both good anti-dive options as well, so now ProBUs need to keep that in mind as they move forward with their draft here. What do you think might be coming out of this ban phase here from ProBUs?
I think they are thinking about probably what can potentially follow up on the ETC Mosh maybe, and a Deckard. So like something like a Jaina, or actually Falstad.
Because they're banning Falstad and they have Tyrael Rhaegar Rage now, I have recently seen a Juice Pirates comp that ran Morales and Rhaegar, so you could get the Bloodlust on that dive. Do you think we could potentially looking at a Juice Pirate adaptation here?
I don't think so, but then that'd be spicy. And I'm kind of surprised that ProBUs decided to ban Falstad for more disengage for the Bloodlust, because I believe that Scalding Sweat Cult already has a pretty good disengage with Deckard.
I mean, it could also, I mean, it could be either way, right? Because like Falstad Gust could just also just be like a free disengage out of it, and Deckard, what is Deckard's ulti cooldown?
Stay a while and listen.
Yeah.
Or even
Stay a while.
Yeah. Or it could be Lorenado if they're fighting in the smoke choke, but I'm gonna bet that it's gonna be stay a while and listen.
Now we see the Greymane Sonya, and I really, really would love it here if ProBUs was out of left field, threw Morales in here, and just juice pirated with this comp. Like, you wouldn't see it coming. They have all their bases covered right now. They could definitely go for it. Using like the turret camp as well, they could potentially get some extra tanking on this on these buildings. It's gonna be against a Gul'dan, Yrel. Fear could be a big issue. Yrel is also super tanky. It might be hard for them to kill. They are gonna have the potential of a Greymane Bullet here. Depending on what they want to go into. Both drafts right now are pretty solid. Is there one you're kind of favoring, even though we're missing one pick from Pro, which is gonna be KT anyways?
Well, this is a very hard one for me to pick. I usually base it on the healers, and Rhaegar and Deckard are both my favorite healers. But I do like Bloodlust, and I'm glad that Blizzard decided to empower it a little bit. So kind of leaning a little bit towards the ProBUs draft, but I would love to see how the Deckard ETC play is gonna work out for Scouting Sweat Cult, so that they can synergize with the DPS that they have on their team.
And I just found another typo, which is I said this was C West and this is C East. Shout out to Tessie for being the first to point out the sound issue and messaging me about that. Thank you very much to you. Alright, so on ProBUs, for game 1, we have Tyrael being played by 8-Bit, John Bunyan on the Kael'thas, Irby on the Rhaegar, Sage playing his Sonya, and Tuna Breath on the Greymane.
And on the right side, we have Scalding Sweat Cult, Broomboy on ETC, Broomg on Gul'dan, Nubaka on Sylvanas, Kroga on Yrel, and Viper on Deckard.
Alrighty, it does feel like both these drafts are very even here going forward. It could honestly just go either way. It's all going to come down to execution, and those are the kind of games we like. The ones where it's close in the draft, it could go either way, and either team, both teams like have to execute here. It's not like one team like necessarily has the burden of execution higher than the other team. If you had to pick one that had the higher burden, it'd probably be ProBUs. But we could, I mean, I could see this going either way, honestly, and I'm excited for that. Are you guys excited in chat? Are you excited, Patience, because the chat can't respond right away?
I'm very excited because I looked at the stats for both teams. ProBUs has played a lot more games, but in terms of stats, they were neck to neck. So I'm really interested to see which one's going to pull ahead here.
All right, we see the traditional intro coming out of Scalding here, where they're sending 5 mid, looking for that first wave. But on the side of ProBUs, we actually have a 1-3-1 split coming out, try to get some of that maybe early wave advantage come from them. Maybe into Gul'dan they didn't feel like they had the wave clear to necessarily keep up with them in a rotation setting here. So they're going to go ahead and go for that. But that does leave them potentially vulnerable to a gank. KT playing it smart, already backing off here up in the top lane.
It looks like on the side of Scouting Sweat Cult that they have 2 quests that they need to complete, so maybe ProBUs decided not to give it to them early.
Alright, so we do see ProBUs going into a bit of a rotation setting here. Both teams are pretty close. Any of these level 1 talents you find to be interesting or maybe non-standard?
I don't think any of them are really non-standard. I like the spell power one for Deckard, but he opted to go to the quest one, which would provide more vision and armor reduction, so that could be powerful in a team fight.
For sure. It does look Sylvanas might be moving more towards the Q build there. A little bit safer build, potentially into the dive comp that's coming out of ProBUs here. Maybe wanting to save that wailing wave. I'm drawing a blank. Man, I'm just out of it today, apparently. The wave for an escape, which I like that adaptation. I like Q build on Sylvanas. I think it's more consistent than trying to stack W. Is going to be the Mercenary Queen, of course, coming out of her to boost the turrets on their team. Extra slow. Is Hand of Freedom on your rail? How do you feel about Hand of Freedom? And how, of course, do you feel about Ruby these days?
Ruby is excellent in my opinion. It does take the teammates to look for the smaller potions and then pick them up. But it's basically up every time your slow is up, which makes healing output of Deckard pretty crazy.
Now, you said you favor the spell power at level 1 there on Deckard. Is there a specific reason for that?
I think especially on this map, since you fight around the objective, it's very easy to hit at least 2 people with the slow, which means that your spell power will be up basically all the time, and that means you get more value out of your potions.
Alright, we do see Scalding Sweat Cult here picking up an early support camp, barely getting sniffed out there by ProBUs, but not in time to interrupt it here. That is going to give them an item advantage heading into this first objective here. We're going to see Shadow Fury, Eyes in the Dark, all pretty standard talents coming out from both teams here. Kalthas need to watch out here, but it looks like they might be using the Sylvanas here in their favor here to try to push it down. Actually, they're going to go ahead and back off now. They did push him back in. The KT does have to finish cleaning that up here. 30% picked up so far for ProBUs. Both of the offlaners still in the bot lane, but Urel's moving out now. It does look like Scalding Sweat Cult is about to make a push here with the level 7 advantage here into the ProBUs, who now pick up level 7. They need to pick their talents here pretty quickly as they're now being engaged on. Tyrael's going to get power sled. He's going to get hit by 1 stack of Echoed Corruption, and then he's just going to go ahead and blink out. ProBUs are now going to... They have an option here. They could wait and pick up a fortification camp here on the side of ProBUs. It looks like that's what they're going to favor to do here. KT and Tyrael just keeping eyes on that. But the Tyrael is down to half health, and he's not exactly the beefiest tank. Like a half health Johanna by far outvalues a half health Tyrael. For sure, both teams are going to go ahead and pick up their fortification camp, and it looks like ProBUs are going to clear one more bot wave. They still have plenty of time here. Only 40% so far on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult. We might just call them Scalding here for the remainder of the cast, just for ease of everything. Sage is moving in there on the Sonya. The ETC is going to get gravity lapse and hit by the combo from KT. The Decker root hitting 3 there. The first route that he's landed at, actually this entire game, since he does get the quest at level 1. But Scalding Sweat Cult is able to keep ProBUs pushed off the objective for now. But it looks like they're going to go ahead and make another push back in here as we hit overtime. The power slide there onto Sonya. There comes the root. It's going to actually be Sonya being first blood here in the game. The living bomb spread a little bit here against them, but it doesn't quite matter as 8-Bit is forced to back off again, unable to get enough health back to make plays there on the Tyrael. He's going to go ahead and go all the way back to the fountain.
Yeah, the synergy with the Irel and then into Deckard Root was really good. And I did notice that the Scalding Sweat Cult does have a lot of root CC going on compared to the other kind of CCs like Silence and Stuns. So it seems like maybe that is one of their strengths.
Root, of course, very impactful against like the Sonya and against the Tyrael, keeping them from moving around. Even the Greymane can have issue as they ProBUs there are going to dive past the objective and go ahead and take out Deckard Cain. The old man himself can't hobble away fast enough. Curse these old man legs, as Greymane's going to be shoved back by the hand of the Protector. 20% left and 13 seconds on the Protector here. They were able to get the top well, which is usually the target goal of the first Protector. Overall, Scalding's probably feeling pretty comfortable right now, as they also pick up 10s first. We're going to see the Mosh Pit, Ardent Defender. ProBUs are going to pick up their 10s as well. We're going to see the Sanctification. It is the Bloodlust. It's actually made leap and go for the throat coming out of ProBUs here, as well as the Fear, Wailing Arrow, and of course, Stay a While and Listen. As here comes the root out of Decker, the objective is actually going to be capped there by Scalding really quick, and then they're able to pick up the heal camp, start moving out Sage there on the Sonya, weaving in through the back line. Didn't really matter, but that was just a free camp for Scalding there, which is rather unfortunate if you're a fan of ProBUs. As now we see the offlaner, well actually just the Urel is going to go back bot. The Sonya is going to take the time to help out on getting that turret camp once again. Now we see Scalding going ahead to pick up both tanks here. We're doing a very good job of posting up, keeping vision. Now Urel's in there as well. They see the Tyrael come in. I actually wouldn't have minded if they waited for him to step forward just a little bit longer and then stunned him and try to kill him real quick. They were kind of done with the camp already. But now we see the camps, or the teams pushing up here. There's a power slide onto Tyrael, but not much is going to come out of it. He's actually going to race forward and then just TP out. Tyrael is notoriously agile on basically any position, but especially on like a map like this where he could throw his sword on the treadmills and have it move away from him while he also walks in the opposite direction and get almost double the distance value there on the disengage. The siege camp picked up now for ProBUs. Picked up a little bit early, but I don't mind that. Get the XP. And then also like reshove that lane back out to make sure you have vision. It may be still a little bit early because they have time to clear here on the side of Scalding and reshove that lane. But it's really just going to be a point here. Broom Boy there posted up as the ETC is going to find the Tyrael. They were looking for a gank on maybe that rotation coming forth. Right now, is there a team that you feel like has the advantage patience?
Seems like the engage from the Scalding Sweat Cult team is a little bit cleaner with the ETC engaging with the slide, and then the follow-up CC coming in. But I don't think the ProBUs has really engaged with the level 10s yet, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Of course, ProBUs opting for a little bit less CC overall, I'd say, in favor of more utility. But now we see them posting up here in mid-level 13, picked up here for Scalding. Nothing too unique out of them. What's this one? Spell power, healthstone, mic check. Remorseless on Sylvanas, giving her that little extra attack range, but also the free Q shot against people. Moving back towards mid here is actually going to be the larger potions there for Decker. You're going to go ahead and pick up that super healing potion there. Let's see. Holy Ground, of course, for Tyrael. Pyromaniac. Sage needs to be careful. They are rotating down on him. If he's not careful, if he steps up or rotates too far, he will be in trouble. But he does have the mystical spear now, or mystical spear. As he actually is going to play this super safe here. He definitely has seen the Decker, but now he knows he's like they're positioning there. And that's why the members of ProBUs are coming in from the backside. Here they come, moving up. They get the gravity lapse on Savage. She's unable to get out. There's the Sanctification as well as the blows. There's the leap on the 4. Now it's just whirlwinding around. It's the Ardent Defender out of the Urel as she's trying to get out there. There's the Mosh Pit. There's no follow-up there as the rest of his DPS has been forced out. Here's the Stay a While and Listen, but it's only going to hit one as the ETC is going to be the next to fall. Now it's going to be Viper there, my bad, on the Decker to the next to fall. That fight came out fast and furious. Let's take another quick viewing of it as ProBUs pick up the camp here. Give it a second. There we go. We see the Decker there trying to run away. Apparently I waited too long to do the replay, so we're only going to be able to watch that again. My bad. I'll try to get that pulled up a little bit quicker for you next time. Still working on figuring out that whole instant replay thing. It's a new technology. We're still flushing out the bugs on it. It's just an alpha. ProBUs are going to go ahead and pick up a support camp now. They have 3 turns, and now they also have a heal camp. Their item prioritization is very strong. They even could go for another turn here, but it looks like they're just going to move forward here. Urel, the only person here on the side of Scalding. She's going to get out, but it's still going to cost her almost half her life. But the Sylvanas is able to take a decent chunk out of 4 members there of ProBUs. The ECC was maybe looking for the KT there. But now they're repositioning up both teams here. Both teams has 5. Bloodlust is still down for 10 seconds. ProBUs is for sure going to want to wait for that. Sanctification for another 17. They cut off for that as the power slide goes down to Tyrael. There's the gravity lapse. They're going to look for him. The Holy Ground comes out. The root is going to miss everyone. But Tuna Breath there is going to walk up, drop her turret. And now both teams are going to back off. 53% picked up so far for Scalding. ProBUs have 25. Both teams still positioning here. They're looking for the holy ground. They're able to separate the Urel there. There's sanctification. Bloodlust comes out as well, but they're not able to quite catch anyone as the root comes out there from Deckard. Now they're forced to back off, and now they're out of ults. They still have leap and go for the throat, both of which could be very powerful here. Do you feel like that could bite them in the butt going forward?
Yeah, I think that could turn the table around. I wish that they leaped right on top of it to be able to get more value out of the Bloodlust, but now the other team is coming in.
Alright, there's the cleanse there. Onto the Sonya, trying to get her out. There's the living bomb going out as well. The healing camp ticking up ProBUs a little bit, helping them sustain through this fight. There's the mini potions there as well. They're going to go ahead and step on that. 60 versus 96% on this objective. Looks like Scalding are going to go ahead and back off for now.
ProBUs does have still 2 turrets in their favor, so this might actually help them cap the objective. And Scalding Sweat Cult might be opting to giving this objective up. Oh no, actually they're coming back in.
Right. There's going to be the Sonya. She's caught out, but does she have the Whirlwind? She is going to Whirlwind, but there comes the Stay Away unless they're going to hit 2. Sage still a little bit in trouble there. He needs another Whirlwind. He's down to 100 health, 2 health, and he's going to go ahead and fall down. The Tyrael's going to be the next to fall. He didn't get the turn off either, so he gave over a turn there. The John Bunyan's going to go ahead and Gravity Lapse the Urel, get knocked back, but this objective is definitely going the way of Scalding.
Sage did a great job avoiding the slide from the ETC, but there were a lot of other follow-up CC that basically stopped him from being able to Whirlwind, and unfortunately he did not get to drop the turret either.
Now they're going to go ahead and try to finish off this top fort on the side of Scalding. They're going to go ahead and pick that up. They're going to start making their way. They might try to pick up mid fort, but the end goal here is definitely going to be that all-important bottom well. They are poking it down here. I wouldn't be surprised if they committed to it. They have the time and the health bar. I feel like they could go for it, but they are going to go ahead and just make sure they secure that bottom fort. Or bottom well, my bad. They might try for the fort, but it's unlikely that they get the whole fort here. They're going to go ahead on it, and the well is gone already. 71% still left on it. 35 seconds. They have options of what they want to do with the potential, but first they need to get out from the enemy team here. As there's continuing pressure, down to 25% now. There's the hand pushing Tyrael there into the enemy towers, but he's able to TP back out because he is a Tyrael after all.
Looks like Scalding Sweat Cult did get what they wanted to get out of this Protector, which is to get the well down bottom, but it seems like the fort in the middle is about to go down too. It has a very low health.
8-Bit going to go ahead and finish off the Protector the best he can, as it actually ends up timing out there before he has a chance to. ProBUs right now are behind in the Siege department. What is it that they need to do to come back a little bit, do you feel like?
I think they need to be cleaner with their engages. I mean, like the first engage that they had, it's unfortunate that at the top objective that they only used half of their ults and did not get what they really wanted before the other team ended up getting the disengage.
ProBUs are going to go ahead and run top and just burn another quick support camp. They're very good at getting these items, and it is helping them out, but once the items are down, they really do need another game plan going forward. Both teams just sitting here now in mid lane, position posturing up here, kind of just wave clearing. It is the race to 20 here before the next objective spawns, or shortly after usually is when you end up picking it up, but it could go either way here. Siege camp being picked up now on the side of ProBUs to try to push that lane a little bit, try to get some value of it. They could look for a flank engage, but the ETC is usually postured there. Looks like they're going to go ahead and round now and just go ahead and wave clear that. Sonya and Urel in the bot lane still, as Scalding went back to the mid. Going to try to poke down that middle fort just a little bit. Health left on it. 300 health. Are they going to be able to save it? ProBUs still keeping it from going down, but the next time Scalding rotate down, it's going to be theirs. Like, Gul'dan just needs to hit it once with Corruption. ETC scouting out the Tyrael, unable to block him with the Holy Ground before he walked far enough away to get shoved away from ProBUs. Now the 3 members here of ProBUs sitting in the mid lane, but Urel's walking up behind them. This is the flank they've been looking for. John Bunyan getting super low, Tuna Breath being knocked into the enemy team. Gonna get the cleanse there from the Rhaegar, gonna keep running, and it's actually gonna be a solid disengage there. Did cost him a turn in the end. But ProBUs able to keep everyone alive here. Still a little bit behind on the race to 20, but they're not dying and they didn't pop anything. Neither team really used an ult though.
That was really good on the side of the ProBUs, because getting killed at this level, at this time of the game, they would be dead for so long, would give the other team a lot of the advantage.
Right. Durell keeps rotating up here to the mid lane, trying to look for potentially a pick off here. Still 306 health left on that fort. But both teams still just going ahead. There's the 20 picked up by Scalding. We can go ahead and pick up Bolts of the Storm there on ETC, Withering Barrage on the Sylvanas, and Sephirium on the Urel, getting that unstoppable Respect the Elderly there for Deckard, and Hunt for Gul'dan. ProBUs are going to go ahead and pick up their 20 here before they head down. They'd have the time for it. They're going to go ahead and pick it up now right as it's spawning. And of course, the all-important level 20 Bloodlust picked up, as well as the level 20 upgrade to Sanctification. Which of those upgrades do you feel like is stronger?
I think the Bloodlust is pretty strong because the duration is 16 seconds, and that's like longer than any ult that's out there. But I do like the Deckard's Respect the Elderly as well, because after this waking up from the sleep, they're silenced and blinded as well, which is very that puts the ProBUs at a disadvantage when they need to get auto attacks off with Bloodlust, especially.
For sure. Though, of course, they definitely could outlast the sleep. Full sleep is 4, I believe, right? And then the blind is 3, so 7 seconds out of 16. As now, ProBUs are going to go higher. They're going to actually fight on the support camp here. 8-Bit's going to go head forward, but there's the Sanctification. There's the lead from Sonya. There's the Bloodlust coming out as well. There's the Mosh Pit onto 2, but it's already too late. Nubaka's going to go bound. There's the Absorbing there coming out of the Urel. They're still fighting for this camp. There's the Bull of the Storm out from ETC as he tries to run away. There's the knockback. Tuna Breath still going forward, but now they're going to go ahead and disengage. They're going to go ahead and be able to pick up that heal camp, cycle through their items, and head down to the point. Let's go ahead and watch that again. You can see there the Absorbing. You see the Bolts of the Storm as they're trying to get out there. Still working on that functionality. Sometimes you need a longer duration to record. Sometimes I don't. Anyways, there's the Unstoppable out of the Urel to make sure she doesn't get picked off there. About 34% there picked up from both teams so far on this third objective. Whoever wins it has a solid chance of getting the first keep of the game. This is really what ProBUs need right now to start coming back in this game.
The cooldowns for the ultimate on the side of the ProBUs is much shorter, so it looks like they will probably have it up again before the Scalding Sweat Coat
8-Bit getting caught out here. He does have only a little bit of health, but he is ethereal, and he's fine. I would like to see him drop one of their 2 heal camps to start healing him up as they're waiting for the Rhaegar to show up, but it looks like they're just going to go ahead and disengage. Actually, they don't need to disengage. They already have the objective. ETC there, Urel already on it, trying to burn it. There's going to be the Mystical Spear forward there from the Sonya. She's going to go ahead and jump in as well as 8-Bit there on the Tyrael, who was missing a bunch of health. This does leave them the Bloodlust out as well as the Greymane, which is a strong combo. ProBUs are heading up here, maybe just looking to try to get some distance away from Scalding, to try to get some value out of this Protector. Try to catch up here, but they need forts. They need forts at least. At a minimum, I would say they need at least 2 forts. They're going to actually shuffle the Sonya out and put KT in there. A little bit safer. I actually don't mind that swap at all. Putting a little bit more beef, a little bit more Bloodlust value into the outside of the Protector there, as they're quickly dropping here in this Protector, down to 35% already. They're trying to get this mid fort down as fast as they can. Fortunately, they haven't been able to turn it off yet. They're down to 10% health, but they still have the Protector, and they go ahead and pick up the first fort here for ProBUs.
It's unfortunate that they did not get more out of the Protector that they got, but I think they did the right thing in terms of playing a little bit safer. And especially with the swapping who's in the pilot seat for the Protector as well, to kind of peel for the squishies at the back.
They still have 10% left and almost 30 seconds left, so they could still try to get something out of this Protector. And I actually would have been interested to see if they would have taken the 3 members of ProBUs not in the Protector, put them in one lane, and then bloodlusted down a building real quick. while the Protector distracted on the far side of the map, but instead they're going to opt to keep all 5 together still. They're looking to try to chip at least a little bit down here in the bottom, maybe try to get that well real quick. There goes the laser beam, the machine gun coming out here, the root from Decker trying to zone a little bit, but unable to finish off that bottom well. Next objective will go mid, where ProBUs still have a well, which may or may not survive until that objective comes out in 2.5 minutes. Both teams going to go ahead and pick up another fortification camp here. That is 2 heals and 2 turns on the side of ProBUs against 1 turn on the side of Scalding. Now they're going to go fight for the support camp once again. We'll see if Scalding can scout it out. They are going to go ahead and look for it. There's the holy ground to make sure they get the cap here. They're going to actually swap out a turn for a heal, and then pick the turn back up, and then pick up the heal. That's 3 heal camps and 2 turns on the side of ProBUs. They are maxed out on items. They're going to have to stop dropping items to pick up items. Scalding, on the other hand, have 1 turn. Now they're looking for a fight here in the top lane. There's going to be the W there from the ETC to disengage. How much of an impact do you feel like this item advantage from ProBUs has been having in these fights?
I think their ultimates and like Bloodlust and then Leap Engage has been having more value than their items, but having these would definitely give them a passive advantage that would, as long as they remember and drop them during the team fight.
Both teams picking up their siege camp here. Sage is going to see the ETC. Both teams kind of grouping as 5 for basically probably just the rest of the game. I can't imagine they're going to peel off that much. Maybe an offlaner will rotate out every once in a while to clear up a lane a little bit. But for the most part, expect this to just be a 5v5 for the rest of the game. We actually see ProBUs sitting 3 people like back by their siege camp while 8-Bit's pushed all the way up by the support camp. It does feel a little bit split, but again, it is a sanctification material here. He could survive for a little bit unless he's like just perfectly CC chained. ProBUs are going to go ahead and move away from that now towards mid lane. We're going to see Scalding going to start rotating down potentially. They're scouting out the bushes, making sure they're safe to rotate down at all. Holy Ground blocking off 1 rotational path, making sure ProBUs is safe as well, as now they're going to head to the top lane, I imagine, and finish that off. Really, there's no need to fight right now. Probably won't see much of an action until the next objective.
Yeah, I believe both teams do understand that the late game team fight will basically be the deciding factor for this game. They're playing very safe, using abilities to check every bush.
It looks like instead of trying to clear that camp top lane real quick, they're putting a priority here on the side of ProBUs to save this mid. Well, I actually don't mind that too much. We're going to see a huge flank coming out potentially from Scalding here as they're looking all the way around by this fortification camp. It's up in 5 seconds. 8-Bit, of course, leading the charge, but Sonya's still up top. She's rotating down now. That actually would have been a halfway decent fight there for Scalding, but both teams just going to opt to trade out their fortification camps once again. What's ProBUs going to drop? What are they going to pick up? They're going to drop a turret for a turret? They're going to drop a heal camp? They're trying to figure it out right now. They're still just swapping turret for turret. Alright, they go ahead and drop 1 turret in a somewhat aggressive spot, and they're going to go ahead and pick up their turret there as well. Now both teams going to look for this objective fight here. This is where they're going to look for maybe a holy ground cutoff there on that choke point that your Rel and ETC are standing in. There's going to be some Qs from Flamethrower there coming out from the Kael'thas, providing out a little bit of damage. Sage getting chunked a little bit, but he's alright. Tuna Breath there on the Grammy, looking for a flank potentially onto the backline. That's really what they're looking for here. They just need to rip it. There's the Holy Ground cutting off the ETC, but he's going to go ahead and be able to use that treadmill to walk around. There's going to be another turret dropped by ProBUs. And they're able to start getting percentage on it, which is important. Because now those kind of like sitting there back and forth are going to favor ProBUs a little bit over time as they'll continue to tick up percentage.
And they still have 4 items to themselves, so they are being pretty conservative, not too aggressive in terms of using the items. And 3 heal camps can do quite a lot of healing.
Yeah, it's 10% over, I believe, 5 seconds per heal camp, I believe, or something like that. And so it, like, health and mana, and that's the important part, health and mana from them. So that's like 30% of your max HP in heal in mana, which is basically like 3 globes. Which is not a little healing by any point of the imagination there. Savannah's going to get speared there by the Sonya, and now they're going to go ahead and pop the Bloodlust, but there's a 3-man mosh pit coming out. Tuna Breath waiting for it to time out, but they're going to go ahead and back in there. There's the Tiro going down as well. The Urel's still there, but Gul'dan's being chased now by the Sonya. Now he's going to go ahead and go down. The Gray Man's going to go ahead and finish off the Urel. Now they're going to just look at the Deckard here. He dodges the spear from the Sonya, but there's the jump forward from the Gray Man. He's going to go ahead and get out now. Now they have a Protector. They need to just go down mid lane here and try to end the game. They do have the Gray Man and Sonya available. By putting the other two in the Protector, they're going to be able to prioritize just trying to end the game here. I do like this. Take the sidewall, take the building, and just go core as fast as they can. They still have 22 seconds before Sylvanas, the first DPS, comes back from the side of Scalding. This looks like a pretty clean game one coming out of ProBUs here at the end. How do you feel about it?
I must say that lead from Sonya was on point to make sure that there's no follow-up CC to disengage from the Bloodlust.
There was another one as well. Alright, so that's going to be game one going to the side of ProBUs there. I'll try to get my mouse out of there. Go ahead and update that score for them now. We actually see Kael'thas, the one person on the side of ProBUs who doesn't really get a lot of value out of the Bloodlust, topping the hero damage. Do you think it was just that poke damage, or do you think it was in combat fighting?
I think it was more in combat than poking. I didn't really get to see KT step up to actually put any like living bomb on the front line or anything. So Kael'thas did a really good job staying alive and putting the damage out.
Of course, we also had the attack speed picked up there by Tyrael. And we actually have two members of ProBUs without any deaths at all that game, which is the Kael'thas and Greymane. Those DPS staying alive the whole game, of course, is a lot of value. If you're Scalding right now, you kind of felt comfortable probably in the early game, and it was really that third objective where things started to turn around. What do you, in that kind of mindset, where you're like, alright, we won the early game, and then we just kind of got outscaled, basically. What do you go, like, where do you look for into game two? Do you look for first pick again, or you look for map pick, try to pick something with maybe a little bit more snowball-y?
Maybe they do understand that their advantage is more earlier game, so they might opt for some comp that doesn't need as much scaling, or maybe try to ban out the heroes that might scale too much if it goes to the late game, because that was a long Volskaya game,
Yes.
going past, I believe, level 24, 23, 24.
I usually count the number of objectives on Volskaya, and we went to the fourth one, and that means it's a long game. 3 is usually around the average. I could see them going with that. I feel like it was more of the draft out ProBUs more so than it was a playstyle difference that gave them that late game advantage. So in that case, it almost feels like you can't necessarily just go, early game was ours, let's go for an early snowball fight again, and just try to snowball even more, because you don't know what else ProBUs have in the bag. You know, if you saw that first pick Tyrael again, or the Tyrael Rhaegar in the early game, like, for sure, just like plan on an early game snowball, but you can't just, I don't know. It's hard to necessarily fathom that. Do you think maybe they'll just ban out one of those heroes next game?
They might. And one of the things that was a little bit unfortunate on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult was that the backline was grouping up, which basically gave Sonya a great value when he was leaving. So maybe they think more about that, spreading out the backline, not to get hit by the ult all at once. Because I remember when I was playing on You Are Not Alone, we did get wiped on a 5-man leap, I believe, from Sonya once, and that is very, very devastating.
Mm-hmm. Alright, let me go ahead and fix your name now, because I didn't do that earlier.
Thank you.
Also, because now chat's also calling it out as well. Alright, we have the lobby made for the next game. Let's go ahead and join that and start figuring out what's going on here. Because it doesn't matter what we feel like, it matters what the teams feel like, and it looks like we're going to be going to Brax's holdout for the next game. Speaking of snowbally early game maps, this is one of them for sure.
Oh, this is getting spicy. Maybe they were listening to what I was talking about.
I don't know who had the map pick yet, so I don't know if it's Probes and they have a plan for this map. I don't know if it was Scalding and maybe they just expected the early snowball, or maybe it was they have a plan on it. It is Braxis, and anything goes, because it's a weird map.
Wow, what a coincidence. Braxis Holdout, it's exactly the same record as Volskaya. ProBUs has played it 3 times, won 2 of them. and Scalding Sweat Cult has played it once and did win that game. So it seems like both teams again have a strategy and comms that might work on this map.
All right, so then the big question comes up: what are the odds of Cho'Gall?
Whoa, I don't know if there are any Shogar players here, but that would be interesting.
There's always Gall players. It's just a matter if there's a Cho player.
That is true. That is, I would agree with that. But there's also a big emphasis on the offlane here, because especially if they want to go for the capping the objective, they do need to stand on it and cap the point. So there might be some priorities on offlaners like Rexar, maybe Malthael.
Alright, we're waiting for the rearrange of the lobby there.
Or maybe they decided to trade players.
Including both of us are now playing.
Oh, I did not realize that.
It looks like 8-Bit may have gone AFK and he's lobby host, so we all have to wait for him now. Alright, but anyways, Brex's holdout. Gul'dan gets value here. We just saw Gul'dan play it. Do you think they're likely to come up again?
He played pretty good Gul'dan, so that might come up again. There are some meme things like Phoenix Planet Cracker, which is not as powerful anymore, but still pretty good wave clear.
That plus Lava Wave Rag comes out sometimes for the defense.
That's true too. So yeah, we'll see what these teams end up banning out and want to prioritize.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're starting to fix up the lobby now. Showed off what I was drinking because chat was asking that as well. Yes, the bow tie is there as well. Alright, we're fixing this. Don't know who's map pick yet. They haven't changed it to tournament format unless these teams are just going to pick comps. That'd be fun. What would a tournament be like where you just pick whatever you wanted? Like you had to like pre-send like someone your draft for each map and then you always just played the same. No bans, just you got it. Anyways, first pick is actually going to go to the side of Scalding once again, which means Brex's holdout was the pickup by ProBUs, who have played it 3 times, you said.
Yes, they already played it 3 times and won it twice, and I'm not sure what kind of draft that they went for both teams. So it'll be interesting if they stick to the drafts that they have played before, or bring out a brand new comp.
I don't know if I personally, I don't feel like I'd necessarily go Rhaegar or Bloodlust on this map because it's just don't necessarily fight in that same manner that you do on other maps. You kind of do the 4+1, like constantly fighting. Like you rarely, I don't know. I don't feel like you're gonna get like enough solid level 10 fights with Bloodlust to really get the value you need from it.
I would agree with you. I mean, if I were the healer, I usually prioritize healers like Ana, Deckard on this map because we fight over that capping the objective a lot.
More sustainy, almost healers. We'll remind them once again that we're ready, just because they're now all also saying it. Why don't you tell us about your little emblem there? It looks sewn. Is it hand sewn? Oh, never mind. We're going to draft. We'll talk about it later. If we go to game 3, we'll talk about it between 2 and 3 if it takes a while again. Otherwise, we'll be doing an interview and it won't matter.
All right.
And everyone will have to come back for a different cast to find out. Alright, here we're heading into game 2 of ProBUs versus Scalding Sweat Cult. ProBUs currently leading the pack 1-0 in this best of 3. It was pretty back and forth in the last game. If you didn't watch it, by all means go back. We're actually going to see the Rhaegar first banned out here against ProBUs, saying we don't even want to risk the option of Bloodlust once again. We think even though this map may not necessarily be his best, it's still going to be very solid. Do you think ProBUs respond with the Deckard ban?
They might, but now that they are not running Rhaegar, I wonder if they're going to prioritize banning out Deckard, because they could pick Deckard themselves as well.
They're going to go ahead and ban out Anduin once again. We could see the Stukov banned out here by Scalding, and we could see the just the infinite healer choke coming out. Maybe we'll go all the way down to like Morales and Brightwing for healers. I wouldn't mind a good Morales game, like a non-Juice Pirate Morales game. We're gonna see the Rexar banned out instead, which is gonna leave Irby, his infamous Stukov, as well. The Rexar, of course, being solid on Braxis. He's kind of just considered S, if not S plus on this map. There's the Johanna ban, who's just considered S in general and S plus in terms of just a tank tier list by most people, I believe. What do you think the first pick is? Is it the Samanas again? It's gonna be the Tassadar. I didn't even get a chance to finish asking you, as Scalding noticed that they wanted that. What does ProBUs pick? Be quick, in case they pick early.
I think they might actually pick Deckard here. But let's see. Sylvanas is up too, which helps out the push quite a bit. The Keltas play was pretty solid on John Bunyan as well. UTC is still up.
EDC and Deckard. It looks like ProBUs are going to take away the CC options this time and look for maybe more of that. We're going to look for people who punish these CC options. Then it could be like a Jaina. We could see the Greymane again with the Executioner option at 16. You could see just a Raynor come out. Raynor's pretty solid as well. What I wouldn't mind seeing as well is a one split with 3 junglers that just kind of rotate and constantly gank. We saw that a couple times back in the HGC games. It's now going to be the Stukov and Garrosh picked up there. 4 Scalding Sweat Cult, looking for more of the pick-off style versus the let's just team fight with chain CC.
They must be looking for a thrown target into the slow and then putting up a wall so that the thrown target cannot escape and trying to get one off to get outnumber the other team in team fight.
We have chat debating the potential of a Deathwing pick here in the 4-man or potentially an offlane. We're actually going to see the ban here be the Raynor from ProBUs. I actually don't mind that. There's quite a few slows there on Scalding. Also, Exterminator Raynor, super good, especially picking up a quick boss in the middle of a rotation if you wanted to go for it. Let's see, what is this ban going to be coming out with Scalding? Do they try to ban out the KT? Because that has value.
They might, or they might actually have. Oh, Chen. So they're really prioritizing bans for the offlane.
Yes, this does potentially give away some of their options. They do actually have to pick their offlaner first if ProBUs want to completely save it and try to get a pure counter pick to it. But that sometimes comes down to your personal player pool. The Sonya could be a little scary if Sages wants to pick it up again early. We're going to see Lunara come out as well as the Jaina there, pushing some more scaling, but also just a lot of poke, a lot of CC coming out of them. The ETC, of course, known for his CC. Deckard Cain, one of the best CC healers in the game. Jaina, just known for her constant slows, has a root option at 16, has the option for roots or just a perma-slow in a team fight at 10. And then, of course, Lunara with her slow. There's going to be the Greymane and a Mothiel coming out of Scalding Sweat Cult. How do you feel about Scalding's draft since we see it all?
Definitely those are the heroes that can't finish off a kill on a thrown target. So kill secure will be very solid on the side of the Scalding Sweat Cult. But with the Lunara and Jaina, Garrosh is going to have a really hard time because he's going to be perma-slowed unless he pops that unstoppable.
And the offlaner is going to be Imperious coming out of ProBUs here as we head into this game 2. Of course, the Jaina is actually a known counter to Garrosh. If you just go the increased slow duration at level 1 and then just spam your Q on Garrosh, he's always slowed. He has an almost impossible time catching up to you. He has to pop the Unstoppable, and if he's popping Unstoppable to try to walk at you, he's going to be vulnerable to the ETC and Deckard immediately after that, or even the Imperious stun coming out. As we're going to head into game 2 here of ProBUs versus Scalding Sweat Cult. We're going to see what these teams do to play out and try to win. On the side of ProBUs, we have 8-Bit on the ETC, John Bunyan on the Jaina, Irby on the Deckard, Tuna Breath on Lunara, and Sage manning Imperious.
On the side of Scalding Sweat Cult, we have Broom Boy on Garrosh, Kroga on Malthael, Viper on Stukov, Nivaka on Tassadar, and Broomji on Greymane.
It's actually going to be Globes at level 1 there for Jaina. Not opting to adapt that. Gonna still go for that mana sustain. Not too bad. Like, mana on this map is an important factor you have to calculate into your drafts. Tassadar, of course, basically has infinite mana with his passive the way it works with his auto attacks. And then also, he went Q at level 1. I personally have been going full pure W build. Just I find the value in that one a lot. And that gives you infinite mana as well. Instead, we're going to see the Q from him, which is just going to be a massive amount of burst on that one ability. Especially if he goes into that percentage at 16. He could pose a huge threat to ETC, potentially even half hitting him almost. How do you feel about the top lane matchup, though?
I think it depends on how much Imperius is going to be able to land a stun. But Matthew also has a percentage damage built in, and then live leech, so we'll have to see how that goes.
As Imperius actually opens up with Lightboot, landing the first stun of the game there on him. There's the Q coming out from Tesla from the bush, unable to land just yet. One globe so far for the Jaina, as there's the throw forward onto ECC. Is going to be followed by the silence, and he's going to go down. It almost felt like he took the time to throw out a couple auto attacks. It felt like he should have just ran from the get-go, but it played out how it played out. He does have Block Party there. Thank you for the raid there, Duke Zek. And now we have the Imperius in the top lane, still him and the Mathiel still going at it. Wave clear advantage solidly going in favor of Mathiel so far.
As we discussed during the draft, Scalding Sweat Cult is showing us that they know how to play off of Garrett's strong target.
As well as they're going to play the map. Both teams are actually going to go for their bottom camp here right before the objective comes up. According to Hong Fu here in chat, Sage's Imperius is unmatched. It was permabanned in Season 8. So we'll have to see if the Sage's Imperius lives up to the hype. There's a two-man Q comes out of the Garrosh there, but he's still getting poked down pretty solidly here. Now he's under Blizzard. He's pretty low there. 35 armor means he's down. 36 armor means he dropped down like 70 some odd percent. Yeah, 70 like 1% of its health. Top lane, Imperius has that capture point, which kind of means that he did win at least some kind of fight. I think Mathiel wins in the lane, maybe, is what it is, and Imperius lives off of it. We do see him land a stun up there, as also the four-man's fighting right now. There's the wall from Tassar to keep ProBUs from able to capture bot. Sage is going to go ahead and go pick up the XP in the top lane real quick. Now he's going to come back in. He's going to go ahead and land another stun there onto the Mathiel. He's got him low. He's getting chunked pretty well. Kroga there on the Mathiel down to 98 health, 165 health at one point there. He is taking a little damage there from the backline. He's just going to fall here in a second. There he gets hit by another stun, and he's going to go ahead and fall, as we were able to actually capture an entire kill in the off lane. Pretty lucky. We usually miss those.
And while at the bottom, they were fighting over the objective point, and Garrosh was almost perma-CC'd, but he was able to pop Unstoppable to get out of the root and then the stuns.
At least he remembered to pick Undomitable at 4. Man, how bad of a game would it have been for Garrosh if he forgot to pick that talent, pick something else. As the 35 bonus damage so far on the Tassadar Q, he ended up picking up the shielding there at 4. I appreciate that. I think that's his best level 4 talent. By a large margin. I think it gives him a ton of sustain options there. As now the Tester is actually looking a little bit low on mana. Garrosh is looking for something, but he's getting constantly slowed here by the Lunara and the Jaina, which is actually wave clearing right now. But the Tester scaling could pose a problem if they let him land too many of these Qs. Top lane is once again there in favor of Imperius, as we actually just click up there in time to watch him miss a stun. And the first full Zerg wave will go in favor of ProBUs here. And now it's going to be up to the teams to figure out how they want to defend and push with this. They're going to go ahead and send Jaina up to the top lane on the side of ProBUs. And it looks like, other than that, they're just going to keep their primary forward down here on the side of Scalding. Each team kind of focusing a little bit more on defense than offense. Ibn's going to get thrown over the wall and just get deleted there. The force wall keeping him from being able to go through the gate. But of course the gate was still up, and he didn't take the talent to let him power slide through the wall, which is rather unfortunate. It would have paid out dividends there alone. It would have kept him at least alive one time. We're going to see the well and the bot lane get picked up there. Meanwhile, in the top lane, the Mathiel is he's dodging the Jaina abilities there. He does have the mana advantage, as now it's going to be bot wall and about a third of top wall. Picked up here by the first Zerg wave.
Well, I'm sure 8-Bit will remember now, but whenever there's a Diablo or Garrosh fighting near the tower is always very dangerous, because they could just flip you right over the wall.
Yeah, always got to be aware of that. We're going to see Probes go ahead and pick up their top camp as now as Mafia will too. Sage is looking for the invade. He's going to be able to spot it out in time, but he's also scouted out there by the Mafia. Now Sage is going to be able to steal this away as long as he's able to force the Mafia off, and he does successfully do that. So that's double top camp now in favor of ProBUs. But now it's a 4-man gank. This is going to be a 5-on-1 if Imperius isn't careful. They're going to walk out and show themselves here. I actually wouldn't mind if they waited in a bush somewhere for the Imperius. This does tell ProBUs that they're free to pick up bot camp and then just hard shove down here. They already got the well, so there's not a whole lot unless they want to overcommit. Well, I say overcommit, but we don't know if it'd be an overcommitment yet to the fort. Now there's 3 members of Scalding down here once again, and only 1 camp on the top lane for ProBUs. It's currently being cleaned up by the Mafia. Overall, do you feel like one team has a significant advantage over the other?
I think they're pretty even right now. As they shown in the game 1, they pretty mirror each other in getting camps. It seems like the top lane matchup is actually quite spicy, as Hongfu actually predicted.
You see the Mafia going forward. He's actually going to miss a stun that time around, and now it's going to be bottom camp time for the Scalding if they want to go for it. They're going to go ahead. There's the Ensemble there out of Garage, and which basically means he has to wait for that to come back up before he's able to really engage there into ProBUs, where he's only going to be able to throw the ETC. But they have seen that they're able to kill the ETC pretty easily, it looks like, on this side of Scalding. Now they're going to go ahead and pick up their Bruiser camp here in the bot lane, the only camp available on the map. Sage is actually kind of losing the top at the moment, but being able to fight away from the wave might help him now. He actually lands a blind W there onto Mafia, dodges his E, and he's going to be the first to cap. Now, ProBUs going to pick up a quick couple percentage here. So it does give them the opportunity here to clear the bot camp before they engage and fight, maybe catch an extra globe or something here. Jaina at 15 globes, 60 bonus damage currently, and it's actually a big cocktail build coming out Green, which I kind of like, going for those squishy backliners by hitting the ETC there in the front.
It looks like Malthair is opting to back because he ran out of mana, so Sage kind of turned that around even at half health.
Now we see Probes in the bot lane versus Scalding here, both teams looking at this objective as now level 10s are picked up here for ProBUs, which feels like it's a pretty easy capture for them now. It might even just be the full objective if they're not careful here on the side of Scalding. They will be able to pick up 10 in time, but can they make get their 10 and then also get enough value out of it? They're moving forward here. It's actually going to be Archon there out of the Tassadar. Besides that, it's also pretty standard. There's the move forward. There's the Ensemble there out of Garrosh. He's going to actually throw Irby there out of his Decker. Stay a while. Here comes the Archon. There's the Mosh Pit onto 4 as Garrosh walks in as well. Now they're focusing down the Tassadar there. The new Baka in trouble. He's trying to auto-attack down Lunar. He's actually going to fall before they have a chance. Remain Cocktail also be able to chip there on Lunar. And that's a full 100-0 Zerg wave going in favor of ProBUs. Looks like they're going to do a lane swap here, just send the Imperius down while they prioritize pushing this time on the side of ProBUs, which makes sense. You have 100 Zerg wave to 0. Definitely want to prioritize pushing whenever you can with that Zerg wave. Now they're going to go ahead and have that opportunity to go through. Garrosh is just now rejoining the top. They do need to be mindful the wall's now gone. They can go for it, but there is still the TAS wall as TAS now rejoins Scalding here in the top lane. Let's go ahead and see how this ends up playing out. I'm going to go ahead and try to look for some stuns there from Garrosh and Lunara. Be able to slowly start chunking this building down. I believe they're Hydralisks. Is Hydralisk the flying Zerg?
Those are Guardians.
Guardians. Alright. I never played StarCraft. My defense. They get half a top fort here on the side of ProBUs with that 100 Zerg wave. And don't think they got like... They finished off bot wall, but I don't remember how much of that was gone before they rotate out. ETC's going to catch that top Zerg. Well, the rest of the 4-man squad of ProBUs pick up their Bruiser camp. Scalding on the meanwhile are going to go ahead and pick up their Siege camp. We're going to focus on here on Scalding for a little bit. Let's see what they try to do to kind of come back a little bit. It does feel like they're on the back foot right now. It's not like snowballed out of control by any means right now. It's still a pretty even fight overall. Sage is just barely going to miss out seeing the Garrosh walk in there. Now the Irby Deckard's in trouble. They're going to go ahead and steal away that camp there. But they've got the bullet there onto the Tassadar. He's down. He's going to have to get healed back up. There's the Mafia ulti onto the Imperius, but it's not going to be enough to finish him off as Garrosh and Mafia are going to go down almost simultaneously. Garrosh and Imperius, not Mathio, my bad, misspoke. As it's a 1-for-1 trade here in the bot lane. Both teams have their camps in the top lane, but it's actually the Siege camp beats the Bruiser camp because the AoE. Actually, I misspoke as we watched the Bruiser camp actually beat the Siege camp there. Generally, I feel like it goes the other way because the AoE auto and then also the minus armor. I feel like the Siege camp tends to clear the Bruiser camp pretty well. Maybe there was a minion wave advantage or something there that I missed out on because we moved up too late. Now we're going to see 13 talents picked up, and it's going to be Ancient Blessings. How do you feel about that talent since you are the healer main?
That is very good. That will really help out with the auto attack damage and a little bit of a sustained healing, and especially for Sage and Lunara potentially.
Still see the Garrosh trying to find these pickoffs wherever he can, but he's having trouble with this Jaina and Lunara.
I have to give it to Scalding Sweat Cult though, because that last team fight looked really scary for them, but they ended up only losing one and making it an even trade.
As far as I know, I do not have any beeping in the background. If I do, I don't know what it is, and I don't hear it on my end. Alright, it's going to be top lane's going to go to the side of ProBUs. Scalding going to be able to pick up the quick tap here on the bottom lane. There's the throw into ETC. Now he's going to power slide back. The silence not going to be quite in time this time. As the two-man route comes out of Deckard. Deckard went Sapphire Ruby here. How do you feel about that combination? Do you feel like going for 2 gems is so worth it, or do you think just going for Ruby or just Sapphire?
I've been just going 1 gem, the Ruby, these days, but Ruby has been using the Emerald quite effectively to also land a more consistent route as
went
well.
Out on the Lunar. She's trying to kite away from the Mothvale and almost gets away, but is actually going to die down to the minion wave. Unfortunately, as the Tassar now shows up in the top lane as well. Bot lane, meanwhile, the Garrosh is trying to keep vision there on the bush, but it gets scouted out there by the Irby Cube. Top lane, we still have the Tassar trying to figure out if he can go in and cap this. He's going to just touch it. Unfortunately, they did change this back, where you can't just touch it and it goes automatically to half. You do have to stand on it once again. Force the fights a little bit more. I kind of liked it when you could just touch it and went to half. Actually, wanted them to change D-Shire to it as well. Now the ECC, they're going to go ahead and eat the bull. He's down to half health. He's slowly getting healed back up there. He does have the block party to help out as well in his, just giving him more effective health right now.
I'm glad that Scouting Sweat Cult decided to respond to the top lane with the 2 members instead of 1 because they were losing that.
Here comes the water elemental. They're trying to focus down the Garrosh. They're going to go ahead and land the Say Well and Listen onto 2. They're trying to kill the Garrosh. He's down to 200 health. He is going to go ahead and fall now to Lunara Poison. The water Ellie left on the point. Unfortunately, can't cap for them as the bullet now is dropped onto the ETC. There comes the Tassar once again. He's at 130 stacks there on the Tassar. Globes, of course, finished so far for Jaina, but she's still working on that ice block. She's about halfway or so to it. You have the Unstoppable picked up by Mothale this time around, and I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen here. What's going down on the top lane? We're going to see the Mothale walk into the Imperius, or Imperius walk into the Mothale to the bush, but they don't know. Lunara and Tassar are also here, and it's actually a 2v2 fight. There goes the wall from Tassar. Here comes the ulti out of Imperius. Actually, wouldn't have minded if he tried to save that for the Mothale ulti, but instead he's not going to. Instead, he's going to land the full set of swords there onto the Mothale, and it's going to spell doom for him as Lunara is going to double leap over his head and kill him off. Now we have a 100-0 wave again, or 118%, not sure. And we dropped back down to bottom just in time to see Stukov die, but I'm not sure how he ended up in that situation. The Zerg wave going to push forward, and this is at least a fort, if not also a keep wall, maybe even keep. And if they snowball enough, this is just game for probes. It's unlikely to end up being game completely, but it's definitely fort. And at this point, it's looking like almost definitely keep, as they also have the siege camp pushing forward here. Do you think Scalding... What does Scalding need to do on this defense?
They definitely need to make sure that they don't lose any more members right here. I'm very happy that they decided to switch up the offlane to get the objective, but the trade has not been in favor of Scalding Sweat Cult yet.
They pop the Archon there for the defense. They lose keep wall, but it looks like they're going to be able to successfully defend the keep as ProBUs are going to go ahead and back off here. Imperius finished off that wave from the top lane. Looks like ProBUs might be able to head top now. Maybe just tank this tower and just... Nope, they're going to go ahead and try to steal away the siege camp here. Then maybe, probably, I expect them to make a play here for the top fort at a minimum. 16 is picked up by both teams. We're going to see the Earth Shaker coming out of Garrosh. Super Strain, Thermal Lance. So it is the percentage damage there on the Tassadar Q. So he's really going to be able to start chunking like the first person he really hits with his Q there on Tassadar. Top 4 goes ahead and fall now. They're keeping an eye on Boss here on the side of Scalding. Don't think they go for it, but they definitely need to keep a vision on it. Now they're going to be spotted out there by the ETC. That's a good job. That's why you post up with your tank. You got to keep vision on those kind of rotations, otherwise the ProBUs would have been caught out. But instead they see it coming. Now they're going to be able to play around with the vision a little bit here. Maybe look for something here as well. Now they're looking for a potential mosh coming in here from the side on the ETC. They're going to start walking forward. There's the stay a while and listen on to 2, but it's going to be the quick unstoppable. There's going to be the unstoppable. They're going to interrupt the mosh. But the Garrosh is going to be the first to fall, quickly followed by the ETC. Both tanks are gone. Now Malthael is falling down as well. There's the slaps from Stukov. And there's the Q from the Imperius onto the Greymane. He's going to end up falling down as well. There's the stay a while. Listen, that got interrupted earlier. It's going to land on the Tassadar to secure time for Lunar to walk up, and they're going to go ahead and finish him off as well. What's the next play for ProBUs here? It looks like they're going to head top lane.
Yep, they have minions already at the wall. I mean, the wall is already gone, so this would be a keep for sure. And
it looks like they're going to try to commit there to Vipey, and he's going to go ahead and fall there. Imperius tanking the tower with that minus armor, but he's still got plenty of health there. Sage is doing a pretty good job on this Imperius so far. That's a free keep, and that means that if ProBUs win this objective, it's going to be near impossible for Scalding to stop it. And they also have the option for boss still with 24 seconds left on Stukov.
yep, the healer's down on the side of Scouting, so this would not be something that they would be able to prevent.
At least not easily. They could try for some kind of quick wombo combo, but they definitely can't fight sustain. Here comes the Garrosh. There's the unstoppable from him and Malthael. There's the throw forward there from the Garrosh. Here comes the power slide forward. Malthael instantly deleted. Now it's going to be Garrosh's turn. There's a big 3-man stun. There's the sleep there onto the Tassadar. He also gets deleted. They don't even need the objective anymore. ProBUs can just go top and end right now into the 2 members of Scalding that's left. And this looks like it could just be a quick 2-0 in favor of ProBUs.
And they are opting to just finish right now, and that is probably a very good decision instead of waiting for the objective.
GG's coming out of Scalding here. 20's also picked up, and nothing too spicy. I mean, they are just going for core here. It is the shields coming out of ETC, probably just because they are going core. We do see the fireworks coming out of the court. They are hitting pretty hard here. John Bunyan is low. He's going to go ahead and get healed up here. As now we see the leaping strikes come out, and that's it's GG in favor of a quick 2-0 in favor of ProBUs. Go ahead and show the stats off here as we make our way down to a lobby to speak with a member of ProBUs.
Imperius in an offlane actually ended up topping the hero damage, which is not something that you see often.
No, as you generally end up fighting a little bit more. I left Patience behind, forgot to tell him what lobby to go to. Go ahead and whisper that. Hello?
Hello.
Alright, so you did. Alright, before I had a chance to tell you. Alright, we'll go ahead and whisper the member, the 8-bit there.
Is chat asking for anyone specifically? No, I guess not.
No, they haven't. The last message was when I said I don't have beeping. I don't know what that was. I don't know. It could have just been something with the in-game music, too, that I didn't notice. It was just beeping.
I wonder if it was coming from me, but I can't think of anything.
I didn't hear anything on my end.
Alright, well, it looks like we have somebody here. Hey, we have an 8-bit here.
Yeah,
congratulations,
the man
Daniel.
Himself, 8-bit.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Alrighty. So, you guys took the 2 quick O. How are you feeling about it?
We're feeling fantastic. You know, it's been an entire season of 2-1 splits for us, and so just to finally get a clean victory, it feels phenomenal.
Alright, before we continue with this interview, I forgot to mention, if you do the command review, so !review, it will give you the link to the NGS caster survey where you can go in and you can fill that out, and you can give me feedback, you can give NGS feedback about the casters and what you want from the casters. Alright, so in game 1 we went to Volskaya, which was your map pick. Overall, do you feel like you got the picks you were looking for when you chose that map?
I think we felt comfortable with the draft coming out of it for sure. The combination like that you kind of set up is just it's just sort of a natural synergistic setup running Tyrael and Rhaegar with auto attackers. So yeah, we felt like draft wise, we were in a pretty good spot entering into the game.
Yeah, just got that late game scaling. Was there a point in the early game where you guys were concerned at all about how the game was going, or did you just kind of go, "We're scaling. This is fine"?
Uh, I think a lot of our early missteps were, execution issues. Certainly, the first protector, you don't entirely expect to win it with a composition like that. That those late game power spikes, mid game power spikes are very important, and so it's not a surprise if we had to give over that first protector. I think there was definitely some execution missteps along the way, but we fortunately were able to kind of like salvage situations well enough so that the game never spiraled out of control for us. And as long as we sort of maintained relatively even footing on the map, we knew that we had a comp that could win late game team fights if we got the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. All right. Patience, do you have any questions on game one?
So I would have been very afraid of the CC combos from the other team. Did you talk about that while loading, or when the fights were not going in your favor? And because you seem like you have changed up the way that you're pressing the R buttons, which made it very effective for the bloodlust later on.
Yeah, the CC was a concern. We knew that we if we didn't execute our kills quickly, then there was going to be a window for them to turn around and land these large mosh pits or other CC combos that were going to kind of wreck our day. So we kind of knew that once that R button was pressed, everything just had to happen very fast. And fortunately, comms I think were particularly strong this game. RB was particularly strong calling out his cleanses and things like that. Tuna was absolutely on point calling out CDs, making sure that we had all the tools at our disposal to win the fight before we took them.
Mm-hmm. Sorry if I seem a little bit distracted. There's a bee on my juice, so I'm keep watching it to make sure it doesn't fly and attack me. Which is why I kind of like panicked and put it back down for those of you watching. All right, so then going into game two, you guys ended up with map pick there. You ended up picking Brex's Holdouts. Not a very common map, I'd say, at any point of the series, of like any point of NGS or any rank even. Is there a reason you guys picked Braxis?
I think Braxis is a relatively strong map for us. We've got good feelings on the ebb and flow of the map, how it plays, how to gain an advantage, how to leverage an advantage. So it's and to have something like that in your pool, it can give you a little bit of an edge in games. So it's something that we like, and if other people don't, then it's just so much the better for us.
For sure. You guys kind of just came out of the gate swinging, and you guys did well. Rumor is that Sage's Imperius was banned out for an entire season at one point. Were you surprised when you guys picked him up, or was that kind of like just your guys' like secret pick there? And of course, if you at any point, if I ask a question that like you don't want to answer because like you want to keep things a secret, by all means, just say so, and we can just move on to the next thing.
I think Sage's Imperius getting banned for a full season sounds like fake news to me. But he's strong on the hero, as he is strong on a lot of different offlaners. So it kind of gives him the opportunity to pick and choose matchups that he thinks are favorable for him. Just one where we thought we had a decent setup, taking an imp into a Malthael. And the fact that his micro is so strong and he can execute so cleanly, particularly landing his Qs, um, that's kind of the difference between an impy who stays in lane and an impy who really controls the game. So it was definitely, I don't think we walked in there saying Imperius is our pick, it's going to win us this game. But when we made it and when the plan executed in match, we knew we had made a really great call there. So yes.
All right. Is Sage's strength in the offlane part of the reason you guys might prefer Braxis?
It definitely does.
Or is that just like an extra free check mark?
It's a free check mark, Sage's strength as a solo laner is not the only thing that we have going for us on that map. It's just a comfortable map for us all the way around. So it's a good place to fight when given the opportunity.
Patience, do you have any questions for 8-Bit here on map 2?
I have a general question on the team, not specifically on game 2. So it seems like there has been some role changes around the ProBUs throughout the season. Tuna Breath used to be on the offlane, Sage used to be one of the DPS, and I know Irby was a strong mage / offlaner, and now he's the main healer for the team. So how's the team adjusting with all these new roles and some of the role swaps throughout the season?
I think the swap moving Sage from DPS to solo lane immediately correlates with our success. So it's been a good swap there, and each one of these players can really perform at a lot of different roles on the field. So I don't think it's necessarily so much how Sage plays in the solo lane versus Tuna versus how either of them handle the DPS role. I think it more just comes down to what the swap has done for our comms and our synergies that has enabled us to find success with this new lineup. Irby is this is his rookie season in NGS. He was really the first one to jump into this team and take on the role of healer, which is something that was left vacant for us when Hung Fu retired. And his sort of drive and determination to become great at that role has, really enabled him to excel in that role and the entire group to excel as a team. So, we're very happy to have him there.
Alrighty, just one more question before we move into shoutouts. Where'd you find Irby? Seems like a kind of a diamond in the rough.
I'm just going to continue telling people that it was divine intervention.
All right. Any shoutouts you got there, 8-Bit, that you want to throw out?
Big shout outs to the full team: Irby, Tuna, John Bunyan, and Sage. Particularly big shout out to Tuna. I think a lot of her calls and comms and feedback and draft really kind of made the difference here in this series. Shout out to Irby too for fantastic heals and fantastic play all through. Shout out to Scalding Sweat Cult. Broom Boy is hello. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, I thought I lost my rig there for a second. Yeah, shout out to Scalding Sweat Comp for the amazing match. Broom Boy's been in this league for quite some time and knows how to run a team, knows how to have success in this league. Shout out to the NGS for putting all this together so that we can have such a great time. Special shout out to you guys for casting. I can't wait to look back and see some of those amazing replays.
There was only like 2. I didn't have the timing down. They weren't even good ones.
Okay.
I needed to adjust that a little bit more.
Shout out to you guys for just being amazing casters. Shout out to our coach and mentor, Veggies. Congratulations on your own win tonight. And shout outs to my lovely wife and beautiful son.
Aww. Patience, do you have any shout outs you want to do?
Well, thanks for having me again. And of course, a shout out to both teams for giving us such a wonderful match to cast. And I look forward to seeing you guys, both of them actually, and all the other teams too throughout the season.
All right. Alright, everyone. Thank you all for coming out. I want to thank you all for enjoying the show and joining us here for ProBUs versus Scalding Sweat Cult. Thank you for NGS for putting it all together. Thank you for the teams for putting on such an excellent show, and thank you, Patience, for joining me. And as always, we'll see you next time in the next.